Ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the end of 2023. Isn't it crazy how fast the year flew by? I mean, wow, I just remember at the start of it when I put my goals together for the year, and here we are at the end of it. But at the same time, I thought it's a perfect opportunity to reflect back on our goals, because many times we're very good and quick to come up with goals for a new year, write New Year's resolutions and what have you. But at the same time, it's equally, if not more important, to hold yourself accountable towards what you actually accomplished of those goals. Because writing goals, it's one thing, accomplishing them and achieving them and executing against them is quite another. And as the saying goes, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So in this video, I want to go through and give you an idea how I do my end of year reflection, share with you my wins and my learnings for the year, things I need to improve for next year. And I really recommend you to do the same because it really puts things onto paper, or in my case digital version. It helps to keep yourself accountable and moving forward, because nobody else really will do that for you. You have to take your life into your own hands, because nobody else will push you to become a better version of yourself but yourself. Without further ado, let's get started. And basically for that review, I'm using a mind map, which I really like because my brain thinks that way, where I just jot down things rather than some overly complicated Notion sheet. And I always keep on going back to writing down things on paper. In the past, I liked the paper version, but now having used MindMeister, and you can really map out your life, your goals, use it for anything really. So yeah, with this, let's review my 2023 performance, so to say, and really holistically, not just focus on one area, because people sometimes only think about their career or their relationship, but actually I want to really see the big picture. So let's dive right in. Starting off with the first one, which is my apartments. I was really happy that finally, just a couple of days ago actually, I bought my third apartment and really start to see the compounding effect. Same with my investments. In terms of real estate, I definitely want to have more in the future. I think real estate is an amazing investment, but at the same time, I want to be diversified. I don't want to only go into real estate, but having some of it, having some stocks, some ETFs, some crypto, some cash. For me, I feel more diversified and, can really capitalize on the different advantages each of those asset classes provide. So it's not only my third apartment, but also the first apartment that I bought together with my wife, which I'm really happy. Hopefully we'll buy more together in the future. This is obviously the apartment we bought after our marriage. So this is really exciting. And now we're going through the process and motions of designing it and so on, because we bought it kind of empty. We can now design it to our heart's content and make it the way we want. And I'll definitely take you with me through the process in the future. I'll give you updates on how it's going, but I'm really excited for it. Next up, let's talk about YouTube. Obviously, that's what you know me from, my YouTube channel. I have a full-time job apart from that, but really YouTube started for me as a hobby, and I really invested a lot of time and effort into it, especially in the beginning. It was really frustration. It took me so long to film a video, to edit it, to post it. I mean, it was really tough at times. I remember I would be doing a 1-hour video like I'm doing right now. In the end, I wanted to stop recording, only to realize that I started recording. I mean, it was just really painful, but well, here we are, and I'm super happy that finally a few days ago we hit the magic milestone of 10,000 subscribers, which I'm really grateful for each and every one of you who hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. In the beginning, it took so long to reach a 1,000, but now already I can start seeing exponential growth, and hopefully that will get faster and faster in the future. But yeah, when I started, reaching 10,000 seemed like impossible, and now of course my goal is already on reaching 20,000, and then more in the future, of course. But really means a lot, all your support for viewing, for commenting, watching, liking the video. It wouldn't be possible without you guys. And of course, I don't do this only for fun. I also see the financial reward for it, right? So I'm really happy that now the last few months, I managed to hit another threshold, milestone for me actually, of hitting over 3,000 euros in income from YouTube. So that's not only YouTube ads, but that's also affiliate links. That's actually the biggest part. Whenever any one of you, signs up to a broker or clicks on the link, I get a little kickback from that. And obviously it's a win-win scenario, right? I don't promote anything that wouldn't help you. So at the same time, it's a win-win. It makes me money. You benefit from getting free stocks or a lower price for a subscription, what have you. And yeah, honestly, 3K is really not too bad. Obviously, it's not enough yet to go full time into YouTube. But if I keep at it and work harder, one day potentially it might be. I mean, I always love watching those videos where YouTubers openly share their financial returns. And some of those guys, and I'm not talking about Mr. Beast or some of these huge guys, but some of those 50 to 100K, they're making 10, 15, 20,000 in some cases, especially in certain industries such as finance, investing, money related things, which I love as well, right? So I really want to focus on this even more, because once I start seeing even more traction, of course, then I'm even more committed to making more quality videos. But honestly, sometimes it's still hard to imagine with just 10,000 subscribers, I can make that kind of money from YouTube. I mean, that's amazing. It started as a hobby and passion project, and it still kind of is for the most part. So I'm really grateful for that, and I'll definitely continue investing my time and resources into making more and better content for you guys. Next up, I was really happy to have my first real interview with somebody. It was the COO of Lightyear. And for me, I was actually really nervous. First off, I use Lightyear, I love it myself. But then interviewing a COO, I was under 10,000 subscribers. But I just wrote to them and said, guys, I really love the platform. I would like to interview you guys. And they were very open. So I went to London when I was there anyways for a trip. I combined it with the interview. And for me, I was really nervous, like it's not some celebrity or anything, but just for me interviewing them, it was really, really cool. And they even said in the future, you can even speak to our CEO, etc. And that's exactly what I want to do, because that really shows me that YouTube can really open doors. And in the future, I would love to get even bigger people on the channel and interview them and get their thoughts, because it's one thing, watching promotional videos from companies, but it's quite another to speak to the leadership. And I think it will be adding value for you guys, and for me also will be so interesting to hear from the horse's mouth, so to say. So I really enjoyed that, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you more interviews. Then we move to investing. Obviously, that's what I speak mostly about on this channel. So for me, it's a big part of my life also to make sure I earn enough so I have money to invest for the future, because I don't believe in the country's pension plan. I want to take my pension into my own hands. So any money I can get, I invest it myself, because I think I manage my money better than the government can do on my behalf. So first off, I'm really happy that I continued diligently to do dollar cost averaging every single week. I used to do this on a monthly basis, but then I quite doing it more often to also see, my portfolio going up, to see the dividend growth week after week, and gets me excited, right? And within the week, I wait for the best day, so to say, even though I don't want to time the market, but I want to time the week. So, I start looking at Monday. If Monday, all the stocks are green, I'm not going to buy. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, usually in one of those days, stock prices for the stocks I already own and I want to buy more of are falling a little bit, and then I try to spot that moment. But again, it doesn't always happen. Sometimes Friday comes around and it's still green, but then I force myself to still buy it, unless it's up really, 10%, what have you, on all the stocks, which hardly ever happens. So usually I find some time to buy it, and I do just that. So yeah, I've been really consistent with that. I'll continue to do the same for next year. Then I was really happy to pass another big target of mine, which was achieving a 1,000 euro dividend income per year. So next year, I will be getting now already slightly over 1,000 euros in dividend paid to me. Now, obviously, this will still be subject to 15% US withholding tax on my dividends, but the rest will be mine, because I will be living very soon, I'll share more about this with you, in a country where I don't have to pay any taxes on dividends or capital gains tax. So that is actually getting quite attractive. It's still a small amount, but only a few years ago when I started, I got 14 euros in a year. So now I'm at 1,000. If I continue investing into dividend growing stocks, I think by end of the year, this number can be even significantly higher. So I'm really looking forward to bringing this number up further in the future. And I'm a long-term investor, 20, 30 years. Honestly, I'm really believing in this. I can hit a 6-figure annual dividend income. That will be my goal. And definitely keep watching, follow my journey, as I'm very transparent. I'll give monthly portfolio updates, and I'll take you with me on the journey and show you how I'm progressing towards that goal. Next up, let's talk about my wedding, which was a big win for me, because that was something I was at first a little bit resistant about, because I was never really a believer into wedding. I always thought when two people love each other, why to get a marriage and so on? It's just too much money spent on this. And yes, trust me, it was very expensive, the wedding, but honestly, in hindsight, it was worth every single euro. It was the most amazing time. Honestly, in period of my life, I can really say that I had all friends and family from my side, from my wife's side, flown in to Barcelona. It was amazing few days we had together in the sunshine, and so much joy. And whenever do you manage to get all those people and friends from around the world together? Probably never, right? Not even when your kid is born. And for your birthday also, it's easy to find an excuse not to come somewhere. So for me, it really, really meant a lot. It was special. It was amazing. And yeah, as I said, I married my best friend, so to say. I'm really grateful for my wife. Couldn't ask for anyone better. And yeah, really excited to go on that journey together. Now starting with the apartment. And she's doing herself very well financially. She's doing great in business. So we complement each other in many, many ways. And yeah, honestly, everybody has their own opinion on wedding, and it's up to you, obviously. But from my side, this was well worth the investment. But obviously, I want to optimize my return on investment. So the longer the marriage lasts, the better the return. So that's what I'm striving for, to get the best return on that investment. Next up, let's talk about my health. Now, I always say health for me is the most important thing in life. Even more than family, friends, what have you. You might call it selfish, but I actually do that so I can give more to the world. Because if I'm sick at home and so on, have no energy, I cannot record these videos, I cannot go to work, I cannot inspire others, I cannot be the best husband to my wife that I can possibly be, I cannot look after my family, what have you. So I think it's so important to be healthy and energetic and feel good about yourself. So I really make sure I invest a lot into my health, not only financially, but also in discipline and doing things that are good for my body. And the first one that I really started this year completely, really stuck with it. And most part, obviously weekends a little bit different, but most of the time I joined the 6 a.m. club. So I wake up every day at 6 a.m. and then right away at 6:30, I'm in the gym and start working out. So I really like that. I stuck with it. Now, obviously, as I said, there's days when you travel and what have you. So if I go to bed at 1, I won't be waking up at 6 because then in this case, I prioritize a longer night of sleep. Jeff Bezos says he needs 8 hours. I, for my set, at least need 7 hours. 8 is ideal, but with 7 hours, I work just fine. Because usually those people who say they can't wake up early, start going to bed early. That's the biggest problem. Waking up at 6 is no problem when you go to bed at 10. That's the struggle, to get in bed early because there's so many distractions, Netflix keeping you away, what have you. So if you go to bed on time, it's really easy. I'm happy with this. I want to stick with it because you feel amazing going to work energized, knowing you already did your workout. Then I started running seriously. Now next year, I want to do my first marathon. I'm really looking forward to it, but I don't want to just complete the distance. I want to have a good time, ideally below 4 hours. And for that, I really want to start training and get the distance in. So now in summer, at least, I've been running every weekend 21 kilometers. So basically a half marathon. So at first, running over 2 hours, it really was tough. But the more you did it, the easier it got. And my body was really looking forward to these long runs. I was listening to music and get some amazing ideas. And running for me is really almost like a meditation. So I really enjoyed it. Now in winter, it's too cold outside, there's ice and so on in Lithuania, sadly. So this way I have to run on a treadmill. And honestly, on the treadmill, it's just not the same thing. I do run now twice a week, 10 kilometers. That's as much as I can do on the treadmill because otherwise I'm just getting really bored and tired on there. So I'm really looking forward to, from January be in a warmer place where I can run outside again. I'll definitely start running more half marathons. So when the time for the marathon comes along, my body is actually prepared for that. Next up, I moved from previously following a keto diet to more of a low carb diet. Now, when I followed the keto diet, a very strict one, without eating any sugars or any kind of carbohydrates, I lost in total 15 kilograms. So that really helped me to shrink down a little bit. And it's so funny now when I go back and see some of my first YouTube videos. At the time, I never realized I was a little bit chubby, but now when I look at them, I can really see how I look much more fluffy. And for me, it's also the fun part of doing these YouTube videos, you're kind of documenting your life. So you can look back and see how things change, etc. I mean, I would love to look back into this video, 10 years from now and then see, how my goals and so on, achievements change over time. That's a nice side benefit of that as well. But coming back to the diet. So yes, now I transitioned to a low carb diet because as I said, as part of running, you actually need carbs. So the night before a long run for 2 hours, I really carb load. I will actually eat some kind of pasta or a lot of carbs because you need that during the run. If you only run on fat and protein, you're starting to run out of steam. And this way, having a low carb diet, meaning most of the time I would never order, a bread basket in a restaurant or what have you, or eat pasta and pizza every night. But at times and strategically, rest of the time, I still focus on high protein and high fat and low sugars. That helps me to keep and balance my weight because I also don't want to continue losing weight. I still want to be muscular. I go to the gym to work out. So you need a certain amount of carbs for that and protein and fat. But yeah, for me, that really works out well. And lastly, as I said before already, I'm really happy with my gym routine. Most weeks I work out at least 5 times, if not 6 times a week. I'm really happy with this. I'll make sure I'll continue this for next year. I was even thinking, should I come up with the goal of working out every single day? But not decided yet because sometimes obviously things happen, you travel or what have you, or some emergency or, so many unpredictable things. So if you break one day, then the whole year kind of is gone and then you might have less motivation to continue with that. So for now, I stick with at least 5 times a week and then ideally a bonus day of the 6th and then the last day is a day off to recover. So for me, it works well and I'll definitely continue doing that for 2024. Then, in terms of my job, that was also a really interesting year. One of the biggest achievements for me personally was actually meeting the US President Joe Biden when he came to Vilnius for a big summit over here. I had the personal privilege of shaking his hand, meeting him in person. And again, I'm not talking politics, you like him or not. I'm not a channel about politics, but he is quite arguably the most powerful person in the world. So having met him in person for me was really a wow moment. I met a lot of head of states and presidents and what have you, but never the US president. So for me, it was really, really cool and definitely a career highlight, so to say. But having said that, at the same time, I will also have some very big changes regarding my job, which I'll share with you very soon. There will be, some major updates, which I'm very happy to share with you. But from next year, my current job will not be the same anymore as it used to be for now almost 15 years. Can you imagine? I'll make a separate video on this. And if you don't want to miss it, then make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay posted. And lastly, one of the big wins for this year was actually the fact that I managed to reduce the amount of news that I'm reading on a daily basis. Because at some stage, I was really feeling, oh my God, so tired. I started the day in the morning, as I said, after waking up at 6, having coffee and reading the news. And news are by default negative. You hardly ever see positive, good news, right? So the more I read about it, I was starting the day with a negative mindset because you see, oh my God, the world is about to collapse, all the bad things going on in the world. And now I really shifted my thinking and my actions. I've actually managed to reduce my news intake to 10 minutes per day. I do that once a day in the afternoon, not constantly checking the feed and getting notifications. I switched all of that off. I consciously go on a few selected websites after lunch once a day and then just read through all the things I need to know. And also very selectively, as I said, I read a couple of news from the US, the UK, Germany and Lithuania, because these are the different countries that I kind of trust, rely on, and want to see different perspectives on news. And of course, also financial news. I go to Financial Times, CNBC to get a bit more financial related news. But that's it. 10, maximum 15 minutes once a day. That's it. Then let's talk about the things that didn't go as well and things that I want to do better in the coming year. First off, let's start with YouTube. Now, as I said, overall, I've seen some great success with YouTube so far. However, few things I want to improve for the coming year. And that's most likely going back to consistent 3 videos a week. I did that this year in summer, a couple of weeks actually, which was quite tough, but I enjoyed the process and I had a bit more time here and there. But then, towards the end of the year, a lot of things happening. As I said, in my job, there will also be major changes. We bought a house. It was after the wedding. So a lot of things going on. So then I went back to 2 videos a week. But ideally, I think if I had 3 videos a week, that will also help my channel to be seen by more people, pumping out more content. There's a higher chance of new viewers finding the channel and then growing it. So that's something I'll be actively working on for next year. So stay tuned for that. And something I need to do a better job of is my YouTube related newsletter. My goal is to send out a newsletter on a weekly basis, usually on Sunday. But again, life happens. So I definitely want to do a better job to send it really every Sunday. And then obviously also change it up a little bit so you get the most value out of it. And if you haven't signed up to my newsletter yet, then click the link in the description below or scan the QR code over here. And if you do so, you will actually get my free net worth tracker as a bonus. Then we come to the new income streams. I had the idea in 2023 to add additional income streams because right now I mostly have my job and YouTube and of course a bit of rent, which is already not bad, but I still want to diversify my income further. Same as I do with my investments, I want to do that with income. So one of the goals was for this year, but I didn't have time to create an online course. So that's something I will most likely do for next year. And it can be something related to my job, but also I think with regards to my YouTube channel, because a lot of you asking for additional investing advice and really for basics and beginners. So obviously it's hard to do something for everybody because people are at different levels of their investing journey. But a lot of people, beginners, first-time investors, are watching my channel and ask me constantly, how do I start? Where do I start? What's an ETF? What is a dividend? How does it all work? So I think there is a need and lack of transparency because often people just randomly promote some random courses. And I think that's something I want to have eventually as an add-on. People who want it, they can buy it and start learning the basics. So that's something I'm really strongly considering for next year. As well as an online shop where I sell some kind of merchandise, something finance related, maybe some coffee mugs with some cool quotes, or some digital tools such as digital planners, digital budgeting tools, etc. So that's something I need to think more about, but I would really love to have a kind of Shopify shop where people interested in investing, follow the channel, can go to and purchase some of the things for their friends, for themselves. I think it has a lot of opportunities and potential. So that's something I want to do as well for next year. And lastly, I'll be really excited to have a mastermind. So that's something where a bunch of like-minded people come together and hang out a couple of days and really specifically speak about a specific topic. In this case, money, investing, finance, starting your business, and just hang out, have a good time, share some ideas, learn from each other. And I think it's super, super cool. It shouldn't be more than 10, 12 people at maximum. I'm thinking to do this eventually for next year. If you'll be interested, let me know in the comments below and I'll think more about this and really start working on it. Next up, let's move to social media because that's something I haven't been doing a great job actually for this year. Obviously, I focus so much on my YouTube that I can't do everything, right? As I still have my full-time job. So definitely some of the channels have been completely neglected, such as Instagram. Honestly, the last time I posted on my Smart Money with Kai Instagram, it was a long time ago. I have my personal Instagram where I post a bit more, but not on the Smart Money with Kai. So for next year, I will also kind of try to put those two, my personal and the YouTube one for Instagram and social media in general together. And then I have only one account and there will be much more intentional and consistent. Because same with YouTube, like anything in life, you have to be consistent and not just throwing some spaghettis at the wall and see what sticks. So that's something I will definitely be doing a better job for next year. And Threads. So finally we got access to Threads from Facebook or Meta in Europe. And honestly, I started playing around with it. I really love it, sharing only finance related advice there. And I really enjoy it. So far it's super positive because X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, has been really spammy and negative in many ways. So I didn't really enjoy the platform anymore. So far it's still a little bit slow. The pickup, the engagement is a little bit low. But honestly, I could see myself dedicating much more time for that in the future. And lastly, TikTok, something I should definitely be exploring more of. I did play around with it for a while. I watch it occasionally, but not really actively producing on it. So same with Instagram, etc. I need to do a better job and maybe repurpose some of the content, even though I always have these conflicting thoughts because I'm more of a long form video type person. I like to watch it and produce it, and short form for me is not something really I engage with and watch a lot. But of course I can see the appeal to younger audience. People love it, they watch it a lot, and it can really help you discover new audience for your channels, etc. So probably something I should be doing a better job with in the next year. Then let's move to relationships, which is an important part and something I should definitely improve in the coming year. Especially checking in with friends regularly, because sometimes I get so focused on the things I need to do on my job, on my YouTube and all the various aspects that I forget checking in with friends, just seeing how they are, how they're doing, how's things, and following up with them. And the same with birthdays, right? I have a few key people such as my wife and my family. I have the birthdays marked in my calendar, but all the rest, honestly, I'm not really good in following up with them and just wishing them a nice celebration and just, again, checking in with them. So I think that's so important. The older you get in life, you start valuing your relationships even more. So that's something I should definitely focus on more in the future and actively commit myself to doing a better job with. And lastly, we come back to the health. As I said before, I did a lot of good things towards my health and really worked on that, but there are always things you can improve on. And that's firstly my sleep routine, because while I wake up most of the times at 6 a.m., I don't quite get the minimum of 7 hours that I wish to get every night, because sometimes I go to bed at midnight and it turns out to be only 6 hours. And if you do that a few times in a row, you really feel like a zombie. And for me, my brain just slows down. I'm not as quick, as energetic as I want to be. So that's something I definitely want to do a better job with. Getting up is early, especially if you sleep on time. So that's something I need to really focus on for 24. Then in terms of steps. Now my goal was to have a daily step count of 10,000. I don't know. That's just a number that somebody came up once that they say that's good if you take 10,000 steps a day. And while I exercise a lot and go to gym and run, etc., that doesn't always mean that you hit 10,000 steps. And many times I actually don't. Sometimes I have a step count of 4,000 or 5,000, and that's obviously not good. So in addition to your weight training and your running, you still want to have the base cardio that you do throughout the day. Because just because you've been active in the morning, that doesn't mean anything if the rest of the day you're just sitting statically around your desk. So that's very important, and that's something I want to do a better job of for the next year. And lastly, stretching. Now I love to run, I love to pump weights, etc. But then you know what? I hate stretching. But that is so important, especially as we age, which unfortunately none of us is saved from. We become less flexible, but it's so important. I see a lot of people in the gym, big guys, they can't even bend down to really properly close their shoes, and it just looks so stiff and awkward. I think being flexible is so important, and it's also been shown to increase the longevity of your life. If you're flexible, you can move around, things don't break, you're fluent, and that's so amazing. And I definitely want to do more of that, especially since I used to do yoga in the past. That really helped me to be more flexible. I definitely want to dedicate more time towards that. And there you go. That's my review of 2023. I definitely recommend you to do the same for your own year, because if you really write it down, you see what went well, what didn't, you can then use that as a basis for putting your goals or KPIs, whatever you want to call it, for next year. Because if you don't write it down, you just think, it was a good year or it was a bad year, but you don't really see all the various parts because there's so many elements. There's probably even more that I haven't touched on, but at least it gives you a big picture of how my year went. And it becomes especially fun when you go back 5, 10, 15 years and see those goals and accomplishments over time, because then, once again, like anything in life, you start stacking your successes, and that starts compounding and increasing your life to a whole new level, just like in investing. Next up, check out this video over here. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.